This play is composed of the true stories the cast have told each other and the songs and dances they have created for this production. The actors perform what the everyday world ought to be, people with and without disabilities living their life stories side by side. I am the director of the new Disability Studies minor, and that's my main field of research and teaching is disability studies. And I am very interested in what they call community-based education, where you take college students out of the ivory tower and help them learn from a wider community. And in line with that, I really wanted to start a different kind of class where college students and people with intellectual and developmental disabilities would work as peers, as students in the same class.
I'd like to introduce you to the man who named me E Squared. He used to pick me up from school, and we'd walk around in Hollywood everywhere. He even took the bus to the LA Library. Hi, Dad.
Elizabeth, would you like to write a poem together?
Yes.
Then I wake up in the morning.
Life Stories was great. I met a bunch of great people, and we got to talk about stories. We, joked around, had fun every day that we met up. And, overall it was a good experience. We got to perform in front of a lot of people.
My dad would make sure that whatever you were interested in, he put into your life. When I was interested in radio stories, he signed me up to the radio club. When I was interested in Lewis Carroll, he got me the annotated Lewis Carroll poetry book.
The White Queen's Riddle. First, the fish must be caught. That is easy. A baby, I think, could have caught it. Next, the fish must be bought. That is easy. A penny, I think, would have bought it. Now cook me the fish. That is easy and will not take a minute. Let it lie in a dish. That is easy because it already is in it. Bring it here. Let me sup. It is easy to set such a dish on the table. Take the dish cover up. Ah, that is so hard that I fear I'm unable.
Life Stories came about because I was thinking about what really mattered to me about this new disability studies minor, and how could our disability studies program be distinctive. And I thought to myself, well, it's getting to be enough of an established discipline that a student could now take these classes and never really find themselves in disability community or even encounter a person with disabilities. And I wanted to ensure that at Oregon that would not happen. And I suddenly thought, I made the connection between that and my having taught for the Inside Out Prison Exchange program. And those classes, you get a van full of students and you take them up to the Oregon State Pen. And so half the students are university students and half of them are people who are incarcerated in maximum security. There was something about bringing together very different groups of people in the classroom that made each person more generous, that made them more their best selves, that opened them up to be curious about each other in a different way, as opposed to when they're all just college students and they feel as if they already know everything about each other, whether they do or not. And I thought, well, what if I took Inside Out and applied it to disability studies?
Life Stories was really cool for me. That was the first play I don't know how you want to say it.
Play. Yeah.
Play I was in. It was really interesting as far as how much went into rehearsals. Some of the stories were really funny and some of the stories were sad, but a lot of those stories were, a lot of those people left it all out there and were very raw with quite a few of their stories. And so it was for me, it was quite eye-opening.
I started writing poetry in my freshman year of high school about what it was like to be in a wheelchair and be a student at Sheldon. As I'd walk through the halls, students would be standing in their little groups. No matter how many times I asked them, they wouldn't move. I'd often think to myself, do they see me? Are they intimidated by the chair? Or is it that they just take pity on me? The last poem I wrote had a lot of teachers have mixed reactions. Some of them said,
How could you write something like this?
while others,
This is great. This should be talked about. Would you mind if I read it for the class?
I don't mind at all. This poem is called IDEA versus the GPA.
I think teachers need more students with disabilities in their classrooms. The reason is, teaching is a two-way street. Students learn from teachers, and teachers learn from students. The problem teachers have is that they like to be in control, and they know they won't have control of the things they don't understand. And they don't understand disabilities. Now, I have a question for teachers. How hard is it to adapt your curriculum for those students with disabilities? It can't be that hard. The fact is, they probably don't know how. Teachers are afraid that if they adapt their class for disabled students, it would affect their teaching speed. I leave you with this suggestion. I am all about mainstream students coming together with disabled students. Maybe we should start a Students Helping Students program. It would give mainstream students a look into the world of disabilities, and it would give disabled students the social interactions they need with the mainstream students.
That's called the Individual Disability Education Act versus the grade point average. Thank you.
I put everybody in a story circle and I arranged that everybody would have the same amount of time and no one would interrupt them. And I just asked them a couple of questions to answer in telling stories, but they were open-ended questions that you wouldn't have to go real deep on. Things like tell about a moment that you're proud of, or tell about a moment that has lingered in your memory a long time. And both groups of students just went deep right away.
I just started doing that live play, and then come I start thinking about it, start crying, and it's like it gets me right at the heart. And I guess me and my mom been through a lot of stuff, and if she was here right at this live today, she could see me do this interview.
I was a little close to my mom. Me and her was gone fishing and camping, and we was a little close. Two people I love is my wife, my mom. I wish my mom was here. My brother and my nephew came to where I was living at and said, "We gotta talk." I said, "Okay, make it quick. I gotta call mom." And he said, "No, you're not gonna call mom. 'Cause mom passed away." And that got me going because my mom was real close to me. And I love her so much. I wish she was here for me, see me do this play. I think she would enjoy this play. And I love her so much. My dad, on the other hand, me and him try to get along. I mean, I try to make friendship with him, but he gets care about my brothers and sisters, not care about me that much, try to talk to me. So me and my mom, we was like real close, very, very, very close, and I wish she was here. I love her very much. Thank you. That's my life.
I learn a lot from life stories. To learn how to vent my feelings to what I've been doing, I guess let the public know how I was feeling.
I'd heard the statistics that people with intellectual disabilities have a much higher, experience much higher rates of abuse, but to hear how it was just woven into people's lives, I thought it was amazing and it was astounding, and it made me understand a little bit better why the community students were really insistent on respect. And that was something that I came to realize as a teacher, that you could not be as breezy and offhand as I would be with my U of O students, that I had to be very careful to let people know that I was showing them respect, and that if I was asking them to do a scene a little bit of a different way, that I wasn't criticizing what they were doing, that I just wanted to try something different. And I started thinking, well, these are people who have really been put down.
Right now, it makes me really nervous thinking about starting a wrinkle trip. You know, just getting out there. It's one of those things I just can't talk about with my parents. What about you, Dana? Have you been in a wrinkle trip?
Well, I experimented when I was in middle school with this girl, and it was 2 wonderful years of my life. I really fell in love with her. But the thing was, when we were intimate, we didn't look in each other's eyes. It was taboo back then.
Have you been in a relationship with a guy?
I've been raped by 2 different men.
I'm so sorry.
I experimented when I was older with this guy, but it didn't feel right to me. In 2011, I moved into an apartment on my own, and my mom and I made friends with him. This guy on the 5th floor. And he was so charismatic, I thought I had a crush on him. And then I went to Veneta, where my mom lived. And when I got back, I had to call on the landline from him saying, "Oh, I was worried about you. Can you come over? I just wanted to talk." So I just finished putting groceries away and from Rama, and I thought of him as a friend, so I said to him, "Sure." And I went to his apartment, but when I got there, he asked me for a blowjob. Ugh. So I did it about a few minutes, and then as I was leaving, he said to me like a typical rapist, "Shh, don't tell anyone, and do you have $20? That turned me off right away, and I quickly moved out of there. I wrote my own thing and did it with Amelia Ann Taylor, which was a U of O graduate, and it was about me, in the 80s, we could say that my experimentation with a girl and I had a crush on, and it made me realize that I am a lesbian. And I was a star, so I acted and danced.
The college students from U of O, just watching them through the course of the term was extraordinary. You could make a whole documentary just watching their faces from the first class till the end of things, till the debriefing at the end. The two groups of students were very curious about each other and asked lots of questions. I'm writing a book. I'll be finishing it up for the rest of this year. It's about representations of young people with disabilities in literature, contemporary literature and popular culture. And so the last chapter is going to talk about theater, and it's going to talk about our play, and it's also going to talk about Deaf West's ASL shadowed production of Spring Awakening that was on Broadway. So I'm going to talk about professional disability theater and community disability theater, and how if you can build up a supportive community, these deep stories come out, and what it takes to build that kind of support, and how both productions had these relationships between people who did not share the same disabilities, or some who didn't have disabilities and some who did, and the way you go about constructing the way communities ought to work anyway. So I'm kind of seeing these productions as examples of what we could be doing in real life.
We all have faults, but that's okay. 'Cause we're all alike and we're